Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and I regret to inform you I found more Raygun content, more terrible dancing to expose later in the segment. But first, it's always funny when lefties laugh at other lefties, and that's just what happened on the Stephen Colbert show when CNN anchor Caitlin Collins appeared as a guest to talk about Trump, what else, when Colbert made this ridiculous comment.
He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. No, I know. CNN makes a... I know
that's supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
I guess it is. Of course, the biggest laugh Stephen got was unintentional there, but even his lefty audience recognised how hopelessly biased CNN is. And this is an audience that watches this.
Yesterday, a Reuters Ipsos poll had Vice President Kamala Harris leading former President Donald Trump 44 to 42. Woo! It's over!
Oh, looks like it could take on Aussie breakdancer Raygun with those moves. But look, I'm just happy old Steve-O is smiling and dancing again because he was in a dark place not long ago. Remember this mad rant?
I know how numb we've become, but it's not normal. No other candidate for the presidency has ever had to pause his campaign to defend himself in multiple courts. And I would like to point out that in all 7 of his cases, no one doubts that he did these things. We're just sitting around patiently waiting to find out if the wheels of justice will grind fast enough for there to be any consequences.
Imagine how unhinged his little echo chamber must be if he genuinely believes the sham cases against Donald Trump are legitimate. You know, there's a reason why his poll numbers went up every time he was indicted. Even being convicted didn't hurt him with most voters. And that's because despite the efforts of CNN and co, most folks can recognise political persecution when they see it. And on CNN, they really did disgrace themselves overnight with deliberate disinfo after Donald Trump's 2-hour chat with Elon Musk. Indeed, the bulk of the media has been in full propaganda mode about the interview. They've been calling it a big flop, but the numbers tell another story. Despite technical issues that delayed the start, tens of millions, and by some metrics, hundreds of millions, have already listened to part or all of the Trump-Musk interview. But this is how CNN described it.
With 40 minutes of silence and then a bropocalypse of politics. No matter how you frame it or what caused the glitch, what was finally said between Donald Trump and Elon Musk at last night's Big X event can largely be defined as a rant filled with familiar lies and lines of attack.
Familiar lies and lines of attack, is she describing her CNN colleagues there? And CNN were at it again with this shameless bit of fake news. This is astonishingly dishonest.
I want to play one exchange that was kind of classic. Well, there were a lot of exchanges that were classic Donald Trump, but this one really stuck out to us.
And Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
right,
it's
right,
really
right.
not something that, you know. So it's not as scary as people think, basically.
So that was more Elon Musk than Donald Trump talking about, sort of suggesting that what happened almost 80 years ago, I think 80 years ago next year, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, now it's okay, kind of trying to blow off the impact of that.
But that was not what they were talking about at all. And CNN has deceptively edited that clip and not even mentioned that the discussion was actually about nuclear energy and why it has a bad name because of nuclear bombs. Trump mentioned nuclear energy needs a rebrand. The unedited chat CNN cut up was over 2 minutes. Here's a little bit of it unedited.
There's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding.
If you listen to the whole discussion, you see they weren't saying nuclear bombs and destruction were no big deal, as CNN would have you believe. Let's go to the UK now, where people are being locked up for so-called online violence. We can't tell you precisely what most of them have posted online, but here's a judge sentencing one young man to 20 months in prison.
You have been committed for sentence, having pleaded guilty to an offence of publishing written material which is threatening, abusive or insulting, intending thereby to stir up racial hatred. This offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable.
Threatening, abusive or insulting. The first one should come with criminal consequences. You can't threaten people, but since when is insulting commentary something you can be chucked in jail for, other than in places like China or North Korea and now the UK? It's the same country, incidentally, where someone involved in a machete attack that killed a child can walk away from prison after just 6 months. Now, let's have a look at woke academic and breakdancer Raygun, the woman who scored 0 for all her dances at the Paris Games. But we're told she's the best female breakdancer in Australia, and to say otherwise is sexist trolling. Here's the Australia's Olympic Committee's Anna Mears.
With trolls and keyboard warriors and taking those comments and giving them airtime has been really disappointing. If you don't know Rachel's story, in 2008, she was locked in a room crying, being involved in a male-dominated sport as the only woman, and it took great courage for her to continue on and fight for her opportunity to participate in a sport that she loved, and that got her to winning the Olympic qualifying event to be here in Paris. She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia.
I'm not sure if she's even the best breakdancer in her family, but let's hear from the woman herself.
I could be representing Australia. It would be an amazing opportunity and just something I never thought would happen.
But Rachel is even more excited for the next generation of B-boys and B-girls.
Already there's a lot more family support for people to get in breaking, because I know people of my generation and earlier, their families were generally like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time with this?
You should listen to your family. Indeed, listen to anyone telling you not to do this. Listen to those people, please. But Raygun has always had supreme confidence in her abilities. Just ask her.
I think my understanding of musicality going into breaking was very strong. My body awareness, my coordination, my eye for technique has been much stronger going into the dance.
And you can understand why she may be a tad delusional, because she kept getting plaudits and awards despite having no discernible dancing ability.
The winner of Sports Star of the Year is Rachel Gunn. Wowzers, thank you so much. I think it is just so cool that a breaker has won Sports Star of the Year.
And sadly, copyright issues mean we can't bring you her Olympic performance, but we can all enjoy some of her other stellar work. Wow, how did she ever qualify for the Games? I mean, look at that. You know what? Maybe we can blame her coach, Samuel Free, aka Sammy the Free, who is also her husband and a fellow breaker. Check out these moves. I think we know where some of that choreography came from. Goodness me. But don't you dare mock any of that, because Australian Sports Commission CEO Kieran Perkins will call you a keyboard warrior.
And all of the commentary and the dialogue that's gone on, all the keyboard warriors and haters out of there, get back in your box. We are Australia, we are Australian. To have one of our athletes so proud to wear our uniform and then to bring what's unique about us to the international stage, We should all be proud. It was an awesome event. It was a great display of different thinking, and, you know, I'm a huge Raygun fan. She has made us all proud.
Made you proud, Kieran? Made the rest of us laugh. Fancy trying to bully Australians into not having a laugh over something so obviously absurd. Give it a spell. And talking about having a laugh, Jimmy Fallon wasn't letting this comedy gold go to waste.
It's Raygun, everybody. Oh, no, Raygun. Thank you for stopping by. I have to ask you this. How are you feeling since your performance? Oh, my God, no. I see, okay, yeah. I understand. No, very good. Okay, Raygun, okay, Raygun. Thank you, Raygun. Raygun, I see you speak through your dance moves, I understand. Okay, so is there anything else you'd like to tell us? Yeah, that one. Me? You want me to dance with you?
Now, the Washington Examiner has revealed that Kamala Harris's VP pick, Tim Walz, called a Muslim cleric who promoted a pro-Hitler film a master teacher, and admitted they spent time together in the past. In addition to spreading anti-Semitic neo-Nazi materials online, Imam Assad Zaman also shared a Hamas press release back in 2016 and has shared many anti-Israel posts since the October 7 attacks. In a statement to CNN, a Harris campaign spokesperson insisted that Walz and Zaman do not have a personal relationship, but here is Walz in 2018 clearly saying they do and calling the Imam a master teacher.
I would like to, first of all, say thank you to Imam. I am a teacher, so when I see a master teacher, I know it. And over the time we've spent together, one of the things I've had the privilege of is seeing the things in life through the eye of a master teacher to try and get the understanding, listening today to the stories and what it means.
Joining me now is journalist and documentary filmmaker Ami Horowitz. Ami, how well did the Kamala Harris camp vet Tim Walz?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We got to go back to that Raygun thing for a second. I'm sorry. I was laughing at that entire segment. First of all, Rachel Dratch, absolutely hilarious. She's a Manhattan Upper West Sider to represent, bringing the comedy. But look, I'm of two minds. This is more important than Tim Walz. I'm of two minds when it comes to breakdancing. Big breakdancing fan. I was taught by the comedian Sinbad. I'm embarrassed to say I went to a breakdancing class when I was a kid, so I have a lot of respect for it. Yeah, I know. It's horrible. It's embarrassing. Truth is the truth. Should it be Olympic sport? If I'm really good at it, my guess is no, it should not be Olympic sport. Sorry, guys. Just the way I feel. Okay, back to Tim Walz and neo-Nazis and anti-Semitic, anti-Israel activists. No, look, did she vet him and then this was surprising? Yes. Was it surprising? No. Look, this just represents what Kamala Harris truly feels, right? I think this is going to come out more and more as she becomes her own person. We're going to realize that she actually finally speaks to the media, if that's even possible. We'll realize what kind of anti-Israel radical she really is. So this really comports with that. Did he not have a personal relationship? I'm sorry. He hosted this guy 5 times. Of course he did. He called him a master teacher. He spent a lot of time with this guy. He knows exactly what this guy represents. It's sick and it's disgusting, but this is just a preview of what we can expect for the Kamala campaign when it comes to Jews and it comes to Israel. Look, there's a woman named Nasrina Barghazi who she just hired as her deputy counsel. Nasrina has a long history of anti-Israel, anti-American comments. She was interviewed by the FBI because of her comments about 9/11. She wore an orange jumpsuit in solidarity with al-Qaeda terrorists sitting in our jails. She has a long history of anti-Israel, anti-American positions, yet she is now in the Kamala administration. Kamala's hired what they call a Jewish liaison, Elon Goldberg. This is a guy who's a J Street anti-Israel radical, right? This is a guy who came out in full-throated support of the anti-Israel UN resolution that Obama, while he just abstained, he was actually the guy who wrote it. So yeah, this is all a preview of what we're going to see with President Kamala Harris if it actually happens. So no, I'm not surprised at all.
Oh, goodness me. Can you just imagine what the Middle East is going to look like after 4 years of Kamala, perhaps 8? Now, yesterday on Elon Musk's live stream with Donald Trump, Trump spoke about the manner in which the Biden administration has mishandled Iran and destabilised the Middle East.
Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll pass.
Yeah.
They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States.
Army, the Biden administration's eagerness to revive the Iran deal has emboldened and enriched the Iranian regime.
Yeah, look, is it surprising that, what do you think Iran's position was vis-a-vis this election when they tried to hack, or they did hack, Trump's paperwork? They tried to assassinate Trump. They didn't go after Biden or Kamala. They want them to be president, right? That says everything about the positions that these two take vis-a-vis Iran, right? Why do they hate Trump? I don't know. Let's see. Trump assassinated Soleimani, one of their military leaders, right? One of their terrorists supporting military people who went directly after U.S. interests and Israeli interests. He killed the Iran deal, which was gave them the ability to help build nuclear weapons. He increased sanctions, didn't give them loads of cash like the Obama Biden administration. Increased economic pressure on the country. Look, this is why we can see what's going on when it comes to Biden and Iran, Trump and Iran, and I think what will be Kamala and Iran. And also, let's not forget, just by the way, that after Iran sent over 300 missiles and drones in one of the great attacks on Israeli sovereignty and territory of all time, what did President Biden do? He said to Israel, you better not react to this, otherwise you will lose my support. Could you imagine a President Trump say that to Israel? I don't think I can, and he wouldn't. Yeah, that's why Iran wants Trump to lose and Biden and Kamala to be president. That says a lot about the election and foreign policy to me.
Absolutely. And Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is apparently delayed his trip to the Middle East due to uncertainty in the region. But the expectation is that once he does arrive, he's going to be putting more pressure on Israel to make concessions to Hamas to do a deal. Blinken will be in Egypt, Israel, Jordan and Qatar to discuss with partners the need to reach a ceasefire agreement that secures the release of all hostages. That's a statement from the State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller. Army, how should Israel respond to this renewed pressure to make concessions and do a deal?
Yeah, I mean, if Israel didn't respond to pressure in the past, a deal would have been done and Hamas would still be in power, sending rockets and missiles into Israel on a daily basis and probably grabbing more hostages because all you're doing is incentivizing bad behavior, right? I mean, look, macro and micro behavior are very similar. When you teach a kid that it can get away with an inch, that kid's gonna take a mile. The same thing goes with terrorist organizations. And unfortunately, that's the situation that they're trying to put Israel in. And frankly, look, I think, again, to go back to Kamala and how she would respond to this kind of behavior and how she would respond to Israel, look, she was giving a speech recently, and the chants of Genocide Joe were raising up from the audience, and her response was not, hey, guys, this is ridiculous, this is immoral, shut the hell up. She said, look, if you want Trump elected, then that's what you got to do, continue these chants. That's the way she handled it. That's the way she's going to handle Israel and Hamas going forward. Be prepared.
Appeasement, yes. And to Hunter Biden, we've got newly released records and interviews revealing that Hunter Biden sought assistance from the US government for the Ukrainian gas company Burisma, who were eyeing up a potentially lucrative energy project in Italy. This is while Joe Biden was vice president. A White House spokesperson has said Joe Biden was not aware when he was VP that his son was reaching out to the US embassy in Italy. Really? How believable is that, firstly, Army? And how rich for the New York Times to be running this story prominently when they were among the media who suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story when it really mattered in the lead up to the 2020 election?
Yeah, you know, I'm going to miss all the Hunter Biden stories and talking about it when that's gone. I got to be honest. I mean, you know, it was a big part of what we were doing. Look, there's, of course, this massive hypocrisy when the New York Times and the rest of the mainstream media suppressed all of these problems and issues when Joe Biden was president. And the more they brought it up, the more they realized it was going to suppress his electoral possibilities. So they kept quiet about it. But now that Joe Biden is no longer running for president, hey, we might as well tell the truth and talk about the reality of what's going on. So now you're seeing these stories come out because Kamala is running and not Joe Biden. It's gross. It's transparent. It's obvious. I can't believe, look, if I were them, I would just ride on that wagon of saying, hey, let's just suppress it, leave it alone. Why bring it up now? It just highlights your hypocrisy and your failure to live up to your responsibilities before. But hey, you know what? I guess better late than never, right?
Yeah, better late than never. Army Horowitz, thank you for your time this evening.
Always a pleasure.